TV Days Drama Digest say that May 29th on Days of Our Lives sent shockwaves through its residents, leaving hearts racing and lives forever altered. The day unfolded with a cascade of confrontations, betrayals, and unexpected alliances, each moment more gripping than the last. From whispered confessions to public arrests, the drama at the heart of Salem reached a fever pitch, pulling beloved characters into a whirlwind of emotion and intrigue. Let's dive into the heart-pounding details of what transpired, painting a vivid picture of a day that will linger in the minds of viewers for weeks to come. Rachel's haunting revelation the day began with a conversation that crackled with tension as Rachel Black, the young daughter of Kristen DiMera, found herself grappling with a memory so vivid it refused to fade. Sitting in the dimly lit living room of the DiMera mansion, Rachel's wide eyes locked onto her mother's as she recounted a chilling moment from the night E.J. DiMera was shot. "I heard gunshots, Mom," Rachel whispered, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and certainty. Kristen, ever the protective yet calculating mother, leaned forward, her brow furrowing. "Sweetheart, it was just a dream," she said, her tone soothing but laced with unease. Rachel shook her head vehemently, her small hands clutching the edge of the couch. "No, it wasn't a dream. It was real." Her words hung heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the soft ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner. She described how, on that fateful night, she had been jolted awake by piercing screams echoing through the mansion's cavernous halls. Unable to resist her curiosity, Rachel had crept downstairs, her bare feet silent against the cold marble floors. What she witnessed in the shadows of the DiMera living room would haunt her. Johnny DiMera, her cousin, locked in a heated argument with E.J., his father. The tension was palpable, the air thick with rage, and then Rachel saw it, a glint of metal in Johnny's hand. A gun! The revelation sent Kristen reeling. Her mind raced as she processed the implications. Johnny with a gun? The image clashed with the charming, ambitious young man she knew, yet Rachel's earnest recounting left little room for doubt. Kristen's heart ached for her daughter, whose innocence had been shattered by the violence and secrets that seemed to seep into every corner of the DiMera family. Rachel, still shaken, admitted that the memory had been gnawing at her, leaving her restless and anxious. The weight of what she had seen was too much for her young heart to bear, and her physical discomfort. An injury from a recent incident only compounded her distress. Kristen, ever the fierce protector, made a swift decision. "We're going to the hospital," she declared, her voice firm yet tender. "We need to make sure you're okay, and I want a doctor to check on that injury." Rachel nodded, her eyes brimming with tears, trusting her mother to make things right. As they prepared to leave, Kristen's mind churned with questions. What had really happened that night? Was Johnny capable of such a violent act? And how would this revelation ripple through the already fractured DiMera family? A tense hospital visit. The sterile halls of Salem University Hospital buzzed with activity as Kristen and Rachel arrived. The fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows, mirroring the tension that clung to Kristen like a second skin. Rachel, pale and quiet, clung to her mother's hand as they navigated the crowded corridors. Kristen's sharp eyes scanned the familiar faces. Nurses, doctors, and patients, all caught in their own dramas, but her focus was on her daughter. She couldn't shake the image of Rachel's frightened expression as she recounted the night of the shooting. It was a mother's worst nightmare, her child caught in the crosshairs of the DiMera family's endless power struggles. As they reached the exam room, Kristen's path crossed with Brady Black, Rachel's father and Kristen's perennial adversary. The air crackled with animosity as their eyes met. Brady, his jaw set, was at the hospital for a board meeting, but the sight of Rachel's pale face softened his expression. "What's wrong with her?" he demanded, his voice a mix of concern and accusation. Kristen bristled, her protective instincts flaring. "She's not feeling well, Brady." "I'm handling it," she snapped, her words dripping with defiance. But the argument quickly spiraled, as it always did with them, into a heated clash over Rachel's well-being and their opposing views on the hospital board vote, a contentious issue that had divided Salem's elite. "You can't keep shutting me out of her life," Brady growled, his frustration boiling over. Kristen's eyes flashed with fury. "I'm doing what's best for her, unlike you, who's too busy playing hero to notice what she needs." Their voices echoed down the hall, drawing curious glances from passers-by. Rachel, caught in the middle, shrank into herself, her discomfort growing. Sensing her daughter's distress, Kristen forced herself to step back, her chest heaving with suppressed rage. "This isn't the time," she said through gritted teeth, guiding Rachel into the exam room. Inside the quiet confines of the room, Kristen's demeanor softened. She knelt beside Rachel, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "You're so brave, my sweet girl," she murmured, her voice a soothing balm. She pulled a small stuffed bear from her bag, a cherished toy from Rachel's childhood, and pressed it into her daughter's hands. "This little guy's been through a lot with you, hasn't he?" she said with a warm smile. Rachel's lips twitched into a faint smile, the first spark of light in her eyes that day. In that private moment, mother and daughter found a fleeting respite from the chaos, a reminder of the bond that held them together amidst the storm. The hospital board vote, a powder keg waiting to explode across the hospital, in a sleek conference room overlooking the Salem skyline, E.J. DiMera and Xander Cook waited anxiously for the hospital board vote. The air was thick with anticipation, the stakes higher than ever. E.J., impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, paced the room, his mind racing with strategies to secure his position. Xander, leaning casually against the wall, exuded a confidence that belied the tension in his eyes. The vote wasn't just about hospital policy, it was a battle for power, influence, and control in Salem's cutthroat social hierarchy. The room buzzed with whispered conversations as board members filed in, their faces a mix of determination and unease. EJ's charm was in full force as he worked the room, shaking hands and exchanging pleasantries, but his sharp gaze never left Xander. The two men were allies on paper, but trust was a scarce commodity in Salem. As the vote drew closer, the atmosphere grew electric, each passing minute tightening the knot of tension in the room. Little did they know, the day was about to take a turn that neither could have anticipated. Jada's shocking move meanwhile, Detective Jada Hunter was piecing together a puzzle that would send shockwaves through Salem. Belle Black, ever the sharp attorney, had uncovered critical information about the night of EJ's shooting. In a hushed meeting at the police station, Belle handed Jada a file, her expression grave. "This changes everything," she said, her voice low but firm. The file contained evidence that pointed directly to Xander Cook. A trail of clues that Jada had been chasing for weeks. Her pulse quickened as she reviewed the documents, her detective's instincts screaming that she was on the verge of a breakthrough. Armed with this new information, Jada wasted no time. She marched into the hospital, her badge glinting under the fluorescent lights, and headed straight for the conference room where the board vote was underway. The room fell silent as she entered, her presence commanding attention. Xander's smirk faltered as Jada's steely gaze locked onto him. "Xander Cook," she declared, her voice cutting through the stunned silence, "you're under arrest for the attempted murder of E.J. DiMera." Gasps erupted from the crowd as Jada snapped handcuffs onto Xander's wrists, reading him his rights with a calm authority that belied the chaos unfolding around her. EJ's face was a mask of shock, his mind racing to process the betrayal. The board members exchanged frantic whispers, their carefully laid plans unraveling in the face of this public spectacle. Xander, his jaw clenched, said nothing, but his eyes burned with defiance as he was led away, the clink of the handcuffs echoing like a death knell. Maggie and Julie, a bond forged in crisis in the aftermath of the arrest. Maggie Kyriakis stood frozen in the hospital lobby, her heart pounding as she watched Xander being escorted out. The man she had once considered family, now accused of a heinous crime, left her grappling with a torrent of emotions, shock, betrayal, and a deep, aching sadness. Beside her stood Julie Williams, Maggie's steadfast confidant, whose warm hand on Maggie's arm was a lifeline in the storm. "Oh, Maggie," Julie murmured, her voice thick with empathy. "How did it come to this?" Maggie shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. "I thought I knew him," she whispered. "But Sarah. How am I going to tell her?" Sarah Horton, Maggie's daughter, had endured a tumultuous marriage to Xander, one marked by love, betrayal, and heartbreak. The news of his arrest would shatter what little stability remained in her life. Julie guided Maggie to a quiet corner of the hospital, away from the prying eyes of onlookers. There, in the soft glow of a waiting room lamp, Maggie poured out her fears. "Sarah's been through so much," she said, her voice breaking. "This will break her heart all over again." Julie listened, her presence a steady anchor, offering words of comfort and wisdom. "Sarah is strong, Maggie. She's a Kyriakis, and she'll get through this. We'll help her, together." Their bond, forged through years of shared joys and sorrows, was a beacon of hope in the midst of the chaos, a reminder that even in Salem's darkest moments, love and loyalty could endure. A day of reckoning as the sun set over Salem, the events of May 29th left an indelible mark on its residents. Rachel's haunting revelation had set off a chain reaction, exposing secrets that threatened to tear the DiMera family apart. Kristen's fierce love for her daughter clashed with her ongoing feud with Brady, while the hospital board vote, meant to be a moment of triumph for EJ and Xander, became a stage for betrayal and justice. Jada's bold arrest of Xander sent ripples through the community, leaving Maggie and Sarah to face the fallout of a broken marriage and a shattered trust. The drama of Days of Our Lives thrives on moments like these, moments where love, betrayal, and redemption collide in a tapestry of human emotion. As Salem's residents pick up the pieces, one thing is certain. The echoes of this day will reverberate for weeks to come, drawing viewers deeper into the heart of a town where no secret stays buried for long. Days of Our Lives, a day of shocking revelations and heartbreak in Salem. Rachel's chilling memory. The episode of Days of Our Lives on May 29th opened with a scene that set the stage for a day of high drama. In the opulent yet foreboding DiMera mansion, young Rachel Black confided in her mother, Kristen DiMera, about a memory that had haunted her since the night EJ DiMera was shot. Her voice trembled as she recounted hearing gunshots, not in a dream, as Kristen initially suggested, but in the stark reality of that fateful night. Rachel described waking to screams, creeping downstairs, and witnessing a heated confrontation between Johnny DiMera and his father, EJ. The sight of a gun in Johnny's hand left Rachel shaken, her innocence fractured by the violence she had stumbled upon. Kristen, torn between disbelief and maternal instinct, grappled with the implications of her daughter's revelation. The DiMera family was no stranger to conflict, but the idea of Johnny wielding a weapon against his own father was a betrayal that cut deep. Rachel's distress was palpable, compounded by a lingering injury that left her physically and emotionally fragile. Kristen, ever the fierce protector, decided to take Rachel to Salem University Hospital for a thorough checkup, determined to shield her daughter from the darkness that seemed to envelop their family. A clash at the hospital's sterile corridors buzzed with the usual chaos, but for Kristen and Rachel, it was a battleground of emotions. As they arrived, Kristen's path collided with Brady Black, Rachel's father and Kristen's longtime rival. Their encounter was a powder keg, igniting a fiery argument that touched on Rachel's well-being and the contentious hospital board vote. Brady's concern for his daughter clashed with Kristen's defensive instincts, their voices rising in a familiar dance of accusation and defiance. Rachel, caught in the crossfire, grew quieter, her discomfort evident. In the privacy of the exam room, Kristen set aside her anger to focus on her daughter. Kneeling beside Rachel, she offered a stuffed bear, a cherished relic of happier times, and coaxed a small smile from her daughter's lips. The tender moment was a stark contrast to the storm brewing outside, a testament to the unbreakable bond between mother and daughter. The hospital board vote, power and betrayal in a sleek conference room. E.J. DiMera and Xander Cook awaited the hospital board vote, a decision that would shape their influence in Salem. The tension between the two men was palpable, their alliance fragile at best. E.J.'s polished charm and Xander's calculated confidence masked the undercurrent of mistrust that simmered beneath the surface. As board members debated, the room hummed with anticipation, unaware of the bombshell about to drop. Jada's game-changing arrest Detective Jada Hunter, armed with critical evidence from Bell Black, stormed into the conference room with a purpose. The file Bell provided pointed directly to Xander Cook as the prime suspect in EJ's shooting. In a moment that left the room breathless, Jada declared Xander's arrest, snapping handcuffs on his wrists and reading his rights before a stunned crowd. EJ's shock was mirrored by the board members, who watched their carefully laid plans unravel in the face of this public spectacle. Xander's silence spoke volumes, his eyes burning with defiance as he was led away. Maggie and Julie. A bond in crisis. Maggie Kyriakis, reeling from Xander's arrest, found solace in the unwavering support of Julie Williams. In the hospital lobby, Maggie's heart broke as she contemplated the impact on her daughter, Sarah, whose marriage to Xander had already been strained by betrayal. Julie, ever the loyal confidant, offered words of comfort, reminding Maggie of the strength that ran through their family. Their quiet moment of solidarity was a beacon of hope amidst the chaos, a reminder that love could endure even in Salem's darkest hours. A day to remember. The events of May 29th were a masterclass in drama, weaving together themes of betrayal, loyalty, and the enduring power of family. From Rachel's haunting revelation to Xander's shocking arrest, the day left Salem's residents and viewers reeling. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.